Good morning and welcome to the Celebrate podcast, where we talk to people in the community every week so that we can learn more about them and share all the amazing things happening in Gainesville. I'm Lisa McGarry, co-owner of Celebrate Primary Care.
I'm Della Tootin.
And today we have Teresa Beachy with Peaceful Past. But before we get to all that fun, we have to say thanks to Elio with the Fiesta Media for producing our show for us every week and having such a great opportunity for us to engage with the community. So thanks a lot, Elio. So today we have Teresa Beachy with us from Peaceful Past.
Happy to be here.
Yay. Thank you for, I know you're busy, so, thanks for your time. We appreciate it.
Never too busy for you guys.
Yay. So how did we meet you? Remind me.
So I think we met a couple different ways because I know that we brought you in to talk to our staff about the awesome services that you offer, and they're very happy with that service, by the way. And then I think we also met through our little kitchen cabinet group that Debbie Kinman Ford had put together for women in the nonprofit world as a way to just kind of talk and think about the things that are all affecting us and do some really great problem solving.
And I don't know how we
over lunch.
I was going to say, I don't know how we ended up in that, but we're happy we're there.
Yeah, me too.
I think Debbie, thought that we would be good addition to that group. And it's been great to be able to connect with, that portion of our community.
It's amazing.
And especially since you guys are leading your respective non-for-profits and Debbie, a new school now. But I think that, we can just relate to each other and support each other. And it's been nice to have that as a resource.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, because women in business, it's like nonprofit or for-profit, we all have the same issues, right? Staffing and money and all the things. And so I think we get to lean on each other, which is awesome.
And it's true. The community of women, that's what makes our services so great, is the community of women helping women. But that support network that allows you to talk about the things that make you feel vulnerable sometimes in a way that you're not necessarily able to share it with other people.
Right.
And knowing that you have that feedback that's going to say, hey, we all struggle with this, we all struggle with that, and it's okay. Here's how I got through it. And sometimes it's just the celebrating the little things. Yeah. On a Celebrate podcast.
Mm-hmm. Woo!
So tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you from? How'd you end up in Gainesville? All the good things.
Well, I think I ended up in Gainesville the way most people end up in Gainesville, is I came here to go to the University of Florida and then just never left.
Yep.
Right? I did leave. I take that back. I did leave for a year.
It sucked you back.
I did. I left for a year and I taught high school in Wauchula, Florida, which if you've never been to Wauchula, you have missed almost nothing. No, I shouldn't say that. Hardy County, middle of the state. The big claim to fame there is that's where all the Ben Hill Griffin orange groves are.
Oh.
Yeah, so I would drive through them every day on my way from Sarasota. I commuted because I lived there for a little while. That was not a good not a good choice. Not a good choice. I have some really crazy Wauchula stories I can share sometime. But I taught high school there for a year. It was a really great experience, but I realized very quickly that public school was not for me. I did well in it, but I did not do well serving it. It was like, this is a little confining. I need more creativity and freedom. And so I actually came back to Gainesville and got a job with Eckerd Youth Alternatives, which is a foundation that was started by Jack and Ruth Eckerd. And they do community-based care now. And at the time, they were doing wilderness education programs for at-risk and juvenile delinquent kids. So I spent 7 years running around in the woods with 60 juvenile delinquent boys. It was the best.
Oh,
it was the best job ever. Canoe certified, learned how to build tents with pine poles and tarps, and cooked meals over the open campfire 2 days a week with the boys, and at the same time was running a full dropout prevention program that allowed them to get caught up on their credits if they were in a high school level, and really just catching people up on their reading skills and grade levels. And then I had the opportunity to take those kids and put them back into school when they left us.
Oh, nice.
So it was really, it was a really, really great experience, and it taught me a lot about residential services, about families in crisis, and advocacy. And that really was a great transition. I did my PhD during that same time period. So I was commuting 120 miles a day. And when I finished the PhD, I was like, I cannot drive anymore.
Where were you doing your school?
I was doing it in school at UF,
Okay.
and my the camp I worked at Camp Akelitu was actually on Forest Road 88 off State Road 40 East.
Oh,
so
boy.
almost
In the
to Juniper
forest.
Springs.
Were you in the
every
forest?
day in the forest.
Oh, wow.
It was
I kind of
wonderful.
feel like I know where that is for some reason.
the Mill Dam Recreation Area.
Some home care thing I had to do, take something out there like a nebulizer back in the day. Wow.
And I can relate to the whole like camping thing. My first job, when I did my first undergrad, before I figured out where I was supposed to be, I worked for the Boy Scouts.
Oh,
and I
wow.
camped with them and did all kinds of crazy
Yeah.
stuff. So I got you.
River trips, the
Yeah.
whole thing. It was fantastic. It was experiential education is something that I think every kid should have the opportunity to engage with. I mean, it's like being at Camp Crystal for 18 months. It was
Wow.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And the camaraderie and the life skills that kind of experience can give to kids who are in vulnerable, at-risk situations, who've had behavioral issues. When you can kind of break down all the barriers and you put them in these heterogeneous groups of ages and skill sets and backgrounds, it really does create little societies. And
Connection.
it was wonderful. It was just a really, really good experience. But I needed different work and different challenge, after completing that PhD and slaying my dragon. I was like, okay, I'm ready to do something else. And it just so happened that at that time, Peaceful Paths, which was known as Spark back in the day,
Okay.
they were looking for an executive director, and I had a lot of experience with them as a volunteer through the Gainesville Junior Women's Club. So it was kind of the perfect partnership of understanding residential services, understanding advocacy, understanding families in crisis, and I could take all that organizational leadership component that I had gotten out of the PhD, and 21 years later, here we are.
Wow. That's awesome. Congratulations.
So were you part of the rebranding and renaming of Spark?
Yes.
What prompted that?
The board really was looking to make the transition. There is another center in the state of Florida, also known as Spark. It happened to be in Sarasota, where I grew up. So I thought all the domestic violence centers were called Spark. I was like, oh well, the two that I know about. But they really just wanted to refocus the community. We had undergone a lot of changes, partly in leadership, but partly just in focus on the kinds of services that we were doing. And they really wanted the community to have something that wasn't just alphabet soup.
Yeah.
And so my ex-husband was a designer, so that was great because he was able to come in and talk to the staff and talk to the board and created this really fantastic brand that 21 years later still feels fresh and suits us perfectly.
Yay. That's good.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Uh-oh. What do we got?
What?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Love
Jorge.
Oh, Jorge.
Jorge's the best.
My friend and neighbor.
See you Friday, Jorge. Can't wait.
See you tonight at Cypress and Grove.
Yeah. Love him.
Yeah. He's great.
So tell us a little bit about Peaceful Paths, about the whole, everything
The
that you do, how many
services.
employees, who you serve,
Sure.
how people connect.
Well, we're fortunate. Peaceful Paths has been around since 1974. We're a state certified domestic violence center through the Department of Children and Families, and we have a wide range of free and confidential services that are directed to survivors and their children. People can come to us a variety of ways. They call our helpline. We answer about 2,500 helpline calls every year, and people just call and say, "Hey, this doesn't feel right to me. What should I do?" We do a lot of safety planning. We talk a lot about risk factors that their batterer might be exhibiting that they should be concerned about. And then we give them the resources and tools that they need to kind of start that path towards self-sufficiency and figure out what happens next in their life. And so people can come to us, get counseling. They can do children's services. We have a child welfare program that works with the local child welfare agencies. We have full attorney services, so people can come in and get an attorney to help them with an injunction, give them legal advice. That's always very important. One of our big programs, we're actually having our upcoming Power the Purse on Saturday, April 17th, to support our economic empowerment program. Almost every survivor comes in and talks to us about the fact that financial abuse is an issue. One of the things that keeps people trapped is dependence. And so if you feel like you're financially dependent on someone, or you've lost your credit because of the things that they've done, then you end up in a situation where you don't feel like you
trapped.
have a choice.
Right, you're trapped.
You're trapped.
Yeah.
And so the power of the purse, there's one of our sponsors, Trade PMR.
And we love Trade PMR. They actually were on our show a while ago.
They're
it was
fantastic.
Great.
Presented this year by Cox Communications, and that's going to be at the historic Gainesville Women's Club. And it's an opportunity for people to designate the Gift of Hope specifically for that empowerment program. If you can't come to the event, or you're not quite at the event stage in your life, but because of COVID, we will have lots of COVID protocol in place. But if you're not, you can definitely take advantage of the purse auction, which will be virtual. So you can go to our website and see how you can self-register and participate in either silent auction, buy it now, or raffle for the 150 new and gently used purses that have been donated. So
nice. Do you still need donations? What do you need?
Right now, we just need people to buy tickets and come to the event.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, come on. It's going to be fun. Great program. You'll get to hear the inspiring words of a survivor who's gone through the economic empowerment program, and really just get the chance, like I said, to support something that is directly involved in helping women get through this and start on that path to self-sufficiency.
That's awesome.
Which is really exciting.
I love it.
So
really
you have, I guess, shelter where
Right.
people come and stay.
Yes.
What's the typical length of time that people stay?
About 45 days is what we're at right now for shelter stay. It's gone down a little bit in the last year because communal living has been hard for people. I mean, it's hard in the best of times, but then when you're also facing like, I'm going to be in a space with strangers during the pandemic. You know, that is definitely.
You guys have done a really good job of managing that.
Thank you. And we have not closed our doors one day since the pandemic started. And that's a testament to the 46 people that we have on staff. They're just a fantastic group of folks. And the board has been super supportive in us, making the changes that we needed in terms of COVID protocol. So still a lot, masks and social distancing, but all of our programs have pivoted and adapted as they needed to. So shelter is still available, has been available the entire time with some small changes. So we're not putting family groups together. We're not, cramming the bedrooms full, because we normally have 46 beds, but we're operating at about 2/3 of that. So around 30, we're really full, and still being able to give space. But the county was great. They funded us with some CARES Act fund that allowed us to enclose some additional spaces so that we created more space in shelter, purchased new vans for us so that we didn't have to cram people in a van together as we're doing transportation. But yeah, shelter's kind of a cornerstone of what we do. And we have 72 beds on campus between our supportive housing and the actual emergency shelter. And we stay full, and it's a fantastic way for people to get that space they need in order to start making different decisions for themselves and their children without the pressure of someone controlling them.
Yeah. So do you have rules about, people that can actually come, as far as, being an Alachua County resident? What if they're from Marion County or Gilchrist?
Sure.
What happens?
Sure. That's a great question. We serve Alachua, Bradford, and Union, so that's our primary area for service. But if someone is from out of area, we'll, work with them or try to refer them back to the shelter in their home community.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you said you've been there 21 years?
It'll be 21 years in July.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I started when I was 12.
So your son has grown up in this environment,
right? My son
right?
has grown up in this environment. He turned 16 on Sunday. And yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting to watch how he has seen advocacy and kind of that speaking for folks whose voice is just not heard, and the passion that is. He knows that it's a big job that has a lot of stress related to it, but at the same time has an amazing amount of just the things that you get back from doing this work, and how you understand that you're making change for people who you might never meet, you might never really have the chance to interact with, but you're creating a space for them in a society that has not always recognized that violence against women is even a thing, or that they victim blame, and they don't really understand the issue, and so then therefore they don't think it's really as bad as it is. But we're still living in a community where we have about 2,000 arrests for domestic violence every year.
Wow.
And so when you talk about, from a law enforcement standpoint, what's the most dangerous call? It's the domestic violence call, and so it's one of those that we know it continues to be an issue, and we continue to be out there doing all the kind of public awareness that we can just to let people know that, survivors are living and working and sitting beside us in church and are in our families, and we just
people
may not
don't know because they're afraid.
We just may not know.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's everywhere across all.
Socioeconomic, it doesn't matter.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not
the only thing that really links victims together is the fact that 95% of them are women.
Yeah.
So
something that is important to me, and I think that people don't always understand, is how you get funding. What's important to you, because it's not like you just have this
magic. There's no magic, right?
Yeah, there's no magic. I got 87 cents in the backyard, and we just keep planting it.
That's right. That's right.
It's that dang money tree.
So you do have different funding sources.
Sure.
You have your events that of course raise some money, but talk to us a little bit about those streams of revenue for your income.
That's a lot of staff. I mean, that's a lot of space. That's a lot of food. That's a lot of all the things.
Right. Yeah, we're at almost 35,000 square feet under roof between the campus and the outreach offices. Plus, we have our 2 satellite spaces in Lake Butler and Stark. So, we're in all of the communities. The vast majority of our funding comes through federal and state sources. So we get Victims of Crime Act dollars that come through the Attorney General's office. That's a huge pot of money right now that's really allowed us to get innovative with things like our economic empowerment and our IFP attorney program, the Injunction for Protection Attorneys. They also just fund a lot of our general advocacy work, and that's it's critical. It's critical to know that there are folks who can help with housing and relocation and high risk. We want a high risk team here in the community that really follows perpetrators that we feel are most likely to be lethal to their victims. And that's a team that's, the Alachua County Sheriff's Office and GPD and our court services folks and all the other advocates in town that get together, and we really watch and follow those. And we wouldn't have that opportunity without federal funding. And then state funding, we get a large pot of money from the Domestic Violence Trust Fund. So anybody that gets married or divorced in the state of Florida, a portion of those funds go to support domestic violence. And then we have local
married
pots
and divorced.
Married and divorced.
I like that. That's good. That's smart.
Marriage license and divorce fees right there. Yeah. So if you're going to do either, do it in Alachua, Bradford, or Union County, so I get some money. Yeah. And then we get HUD funding, specifically Housing and Urban Development. Helps us with relocation dollars, rapid rehousing, supports some of our services related to homelessness issues. And then we are a CAP partner through the county. They're county partnership program, community action partnership program that focuses on poverty reduction. So we're super excited about how the county has grown that program over the years. I've seen tremendous change in the 20 years in how they're able to fund and really support their local community partners that they would spend so much more money if they were trying to do it themselves. So that's a really great opportunity. And then we're a United Way impact partner. But the real backbone of how we get the work done is the generosity of donors that support us with, the monthly pledge, the coming to the events, and just being part of the community of hope that really creates an opportunity for us to do this work.
And do you have somebody on staff that focuses on that for you? Full-time fundraiser?
We do. Yeah. We're very fortunate to have Stephanie Fries. Okay. She's our Director of Development, and Brooke Sammons, who is her team member. And the two of them are really working on making our events just that much more next level. They did a phenomenal job in the spring or in the fall last year, shifting our spring event, the Guest Chef Cocktail Party, to an all online auction. And we did a tremendous amount of fundraising there that was, we didn't know how it would look. We didn't know how that would actually work. And people really responded well. And again, people are starting to come out for Power the Purse and buy tickets, buy tables. And we're excited to have that in-person event space again. And then we've got tonight at Cypress and Grove, a small sip and support event that you can come out, and for every beer you buy, we get $1.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's good.
That's really fun.
And then we'll have our guest chef cocktail party coming up again this October at the Cade. So
nice.
It'll look a little different, but it'll still be there. And again, I think the word of the year was pivot, right? That was
we've talked about that so many times.
Oh my gosh, everyone. How do you stay focused on the mission without losing sight of the fact that you don't have to do things exactly the way you've always done them.
Right.
Yep. And that was a real paradigm shift for us, because all of our services are face to face. But we did things like we added a text line for both shelter and outreach. So if a victim was trapped in her home with her partner and she couldn't call because he's right there, start texting us and being, responsive in different ways. Moving all of our prevention work online, we've actually been able to access more kids in the public schools than we did when we were doing it in person.
Wow.
So that was a silver lining that we didn't anticipate. But just having, the staff, and again, they're so supportive of the mission, and they love the services that you guys give. And one of our commitments is always to make sure that people stay healthy and stay focused on themselves and do that self-care so that they can be good at the work. And so you guys have helped us, meet that goal as well.
Thank you. It's been fun to be a resource. So, I worked with Elizabeth before, and she needed some help with some stuff, and I dug around until I could figure it out. I was like, it's not going to work the way we were thinking, but we will get this figured out. So
No, you've been great. And we've had several staff that have come back to us and say, this is one of the better things in terms of benefits that the agency offers, because it really, to have that connection. And I think that when you are in a helping profession, so many times you forget about balancing all of that and taking care of yourself, and knowing that we offer this and that it's there for them. They have really taken advantage of it, and that's good. It's
we
less
love
sick
it.
days out of the office.
Yay, less sick days.
People who are at the office ready to work because they feel like that part of their life is being well cared for.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate it so much. We definitely do.
Absolutely.
So, well, thank you for your time today.
Look at that. We wasted 20 minutes without even thinking about it.
So I want to tell one tip, because we
Yeah.
talked to your staff about this as well. So if we are not your healthcare provider, then contact your healthcare provider. Annual screening labs are very important.
Absolutely.
In addition to screening lab work, check your vitamin levels, check your vitamin D, vitamin B12. These things are important as well. So if we're your healthcare provider, please contact us for your annual screening labs. And if we're not, contact your healthcare provider. So thanks for having us today, and we love to get to see you. And thanks to Elio and Teresa. Thank you.
Yeah, and so we're on every Tuesday at 11 live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can watch us either place. And obviously it's saved if you are at work, like a lot of people are at 11 o'clock. But we appreciate it. We love the engagement with the community. We love having people like Teresa with us, and we look forward to next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.